entrepreneurism, and it's become romanticized, because before, entrepreneur was just somebody with a job, without a job, with an idea. And now we've made it into this thing that, it's this really exciting thing. And I just think most people shouldn't be entrepreneurs. I think more people should be looking to be great employees. But if you do feel that you're going to be a business owner, you should do it the right way, and you should be doing it for the right reasons. And if you get to the stage where you have a limited company or corporation, whatever your business format, it should be something that you're leveraging. So you should understand why you're starting that limited company. You should have the right things in place to ensure that you actually have a company, rather than a job that you own. Sustainable, repeatable, and franchisable. So, if I was to have waited until I had the perfect setup, had the perfect team, everything had come together, the stars had aligned in my favor to start my first business, or to just give a side hustle a try, I probably would have never started. There'll always be a reason for you not to start. There'll always be an obstacle. There'll always be something else that you can be doing. But what I would say is start where you are. Start with what you have. So you do want to plan, and you do want to give it some thought. So you don't want to just wake up and boom, you go and you're up and running. But you have to at some point start.
Okay, and that's what we are here to do today. We're here to talk through how to start and run a successful business that is scalable, sustainable, repeatable, and franchisable. So it's about having a business that is not run on your emotion. A lot of the information is taken from my book, Business Mastery for Startups and Side Hustlers. Make sure that you purchase it. It's available on Amazon. So a little bit about me. I've been in business and finance for over 30 years. So I take and I bring a wealth of experience, both as an entrepreneur, but also as someone who's worked for some of the top companies on the planet. I help startups and side hustlers make their first 100,000. And that's important because I'm not for everybody. And this program is not for everybody. It's designed for people who are between -6 months and 12 months in business. So about that -6 months, it means that you're thinking about starting a business. You're serious about starting a business. You're not going to get caught up in analysis paralysis. You're definitely going to start a business, but you just want to make sure that you're setting up correctly. And the reason why I focus on people that are -6 months to 12 months in business is because what I found in reality, when I was dealing and working with clients that had been in business 4 or 5 years, even when I was able to point out things that they weren't doing well or things that could be tweaked, they were so heavily vested in it that you then have to go into mindsets and you have to go into all these different things because they just don't want to change. And sometimes the things that they're doing are actually working. It's just not optimized. So after that 12-month mark, I just found that it wasn't a good place for me to be at my price point. Not to say that I couldn't add value, but at the price point that I want to operate at, it just wasn't something that was viable for me. But within that 12 months, people are probably up and running, starting to see things that are working, have figured out the things that don't work, and they're usually more open to a conversation. And that's what we're having today, a conversation about all of the key fundamentals of starting and running a business that is data-driven. So some of the things that we'll cover off are the correct way to start a business, any business. The fundamentals remain the same. So the fundamentals of starting any business are pretty much the same. How to build and hone a business plan. As I always say, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So a business plan is very important. How to increase traffic to your website. And yes, you do need a website. Your website can be one of many things. It can be just an online brochure, but I would recommend that your website should be like an employee because it should generate business for you. It should be well updated. It should run efficiently. It should answer questions of clients. So you do need a website. How to build your brand. Branding is super important, not in the way that some people will talk about it, but branding is important. Marketing and promoting your business and building a customer CRM and having great service. We'll also be talking about ChatGPT and using AI to be a more profitable business and be more efficient, especially as a startup or a side hustler. Now, the schedule will be a little bit different than what's here, but we will run through all of these items. And here's the QR code for the book. Make sure you download the free ebook or you can purchase it on Amazon. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is mindsets. So mindsets are going to determine if you are successful and how successful you are. Keeping in mind, whatever you believe is true, to the extent that if you don't think you can do it, you won't do it. And if you believe you can do it, then you have a much higher possibility and probability of being successful. So you have to get your mindset right. Now, this is why I love the program that I've put together, which is the Business Mastery program, because we cover off everything. So there's a lot of consultants that will talk to you about just branding or just mindsets or, just one component of having a successful business. But the reality is you need to do the fundamentals well, and you need to do the fundamentals in the right order, because if you're not, then it won't work. The analogy that I use is a pin. So if I was to talk to someone and say, listen, give me the 4 digits in your pin for the cash machine, they may say, well, I'm not going to give you those numbers in order. But statistically and mathematically, if they gave me the 4 numbers that are in the pin, but didn't give them to me in order, I probably wouldn't be able to access that money. Now, it's the same thing when you get a business up and running and you're doing things in the wrong order. So you need to make sure that you're doing things in the right order to make sure that you can unlock the money that customers will be sending you or paying you for your products or services. As I said, if you fail to plan, you will fail. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So getting started, we want to make sure that you're doing things in the right order. And one of the things that's so important about doing things in the right order is making sure that you're setting up your identity and making sure that you're doing this in the right order, because it can get you in a lot of trouble. So one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you have a business phone number. There's several ways you can go about getting a business phone number. One way would be to get a mobile phone that has dual SIMs. So a dual SIM meaning you can have 2 SIM cards in it with 2 phone numbers. One of them can be your business phone number and the other one can be your personal phone number. Also, GoDaddy has a great service where it's a smart line where they generate a phone number for you. You can forward that phone number to your cell phone, and then you'll know when someone is calling you for business purposes as opposed to personal reasons. Now, this is important because you want to have a work-life balance. You want to be able to switch off when you're with family or with friends, but you also don't want to miss important business calls. So depending on what type of business you're in and how you want to set up your business, then you will have a different hours for when your operating hours are. And if someone calls outside of those operating hours, then it will give them a voicemail, but be sure to follow up with them and return their call. The other thing that you need is a business address. We live in the day of technology and AI. the last thing you need is your personal address on the internet. So you do want to set up a separate business address. There's several ways that you can do it. As a operator of a business center for many years, I know that you can set up a business address for as little as $9.99 per month. So $9 or £9 per month. Now, this is not a PO box. This is different than a PO box. So a virtual address sits somewhere between having a real address, a physical business, which a lot of people don't need, and having a PO box. If you're like most people, if you see someone with a PO box, they lose a little bit of credibility. Whereas with a virtual mailbox, what you're able to do is have an address that is a real address where people can send physical mail and someone processes that mail. So you're going to need a business phone number, address, website, and a domain-based email address. Now, this is a bit controversial because this is now 2025. And it's not like it was 20 years ago where people didn't really find people who have a Gmail account or a Hotmail account. They didn't find them to be credible people. Now, a lot of people, because Gmail accounts integrate a lot of other services, they do use Gmail accounts. But my recommendation would be to have a domain-based email. So a domain-based email address would just essentially mean that it's whatever at your company name. So in my case, it would be info at astorbusinesscenters.com or Anthony at astorbusinesscenters.com. And this is important because in some industries, especially around finance, people might not trust someone that has a Gmail account or a Hotmail account. But in other industries, and depending on the size of your business, it may not matter. But you do want to have that option of being able to do either, depending on your particular industry. The other thing is the business formation. When you're forming your business, you want to make sure that you put your business address that you've generated and business phone number on the documents. Depending on if you're in the US or the UK, the process will be a little bit different of how you form your business. And if it's a limited company or an LLC, depending on US or UK, if you go to Companies House or if you go to Secretary of State, depending on if you're in the US or the UK, but the fundamentals are the same. You want to make sure that you're using your business address and your business phone number. I would say avoid DBAs, which is doing business as, simply because if you don't set up the proper business formation, meaning if you don't have a corporation, LLC, or a sole trader, if you don't have that formation and you're just operating as yourself, but with a business name, if something goes wrong, your personal assets are at risk. Whereas if you set up a business, it creates what they call a veil around your personal assets and it protects them. So it means that if you get sued, your company gets sued, not you personally. So you won't be losing your house. So business formation is vital. Make sure you register your company with Companies House if you're in the UK. Business banking. This is the other thing. So people will set up a business and they want to make money, but they don't make it frictionless as far as receiving money for their products or services. And what you don't want to do is have business payments paid into your personal account. There's lots of reasons why I say that. One reason would be if you're doing a project for someone and you say, oh, well, send it to John Smith. They might not trust that. Whereas if it's John Smith Industries, it's going to give you more credibility. Besides the fact, larger companies aren't going to want to pay into a personal account. So make sure you set up your business account. Make sure it's set up under your business address and your business phone number. And be sure to set up some type of accounting software. Now, I use QuickBooks. QuickBooks is straightforward, but here's a tip. Do not set your QuickBooks up yourself. It's worth the investment of having an accountant set your QuickBooks up for you because then they can set up the categories correctly. You don't have to pay them for bookkeeping, But if they set it up correctly, when it comes time to do your taxes, it's a lot easier because everything will be in the right place. Sometimes we try to cut corners and we end up paying for them because we want to set it up ourselves. And then when it comes time to do our taxes, it's really complicated. Then you have to pay someone to unpack everything and fix it when you could have just paid that fee in the first place, got it set up correctly. Then you can manage your own books depending on how complex your finances are and how many transactions you have. But it will save you money in the long run, and it will help you avoid any headaches. Understanding your business. Before you can sell, you must have your business plan. So the business plan is a way of documenting what you want to do, how you're going to do it, what your processes are, what your marketing is. It's a document that's going to make you accountable to yourself. Now, there's countless very successful entrepreneurs who don't have a business plan. So I fully accept that some people don't have business plans, but everybody starting a business should get and write a business plan. There's some great business plan templates on the internet, but we use LivePlan. LivePlan is an online business planning platform where it breaks it down into smaller pieces, which makes it less daunting, and it makes sure that you don't miss anything, because the reality is you don't know what you don't know. And once you've done one business plan, doing future business plans is a lot easier. And this goes back to what I talk about when I say being scalable, sustainable, repeatable, and franchisable. So repeatable means you've done one business plan, that business is successful, and you either want to start a similar business, you want to start a different kind of business, you will just be creating a new business plan for the other business. This is the QR code for LivePlan. You can scan the QR code. I usually work people through a business plan. It usually takes about 3 months. So because LivePlan is a monthly subscription, you in worst case scenario, if you're serious about starting your business, you'll pay the subscription for 3 months. If you end up paying for a little bit more, then that's on you. But really, you should be able to go through the whole thing in 3 months. You could actually do it in a day if you already have a business plan and you just want to tweak it. Some of the subscription levels for LivePlan actually have AI that will help you write some of the content. The business plan is vital in getting started, and it's vital in keeping you accountable to yourself, because this way you can go back and say, well, I planned this and it's not working. How do I iterate? Or do I revisit it? Is this part of the business working well? It will help you determine your marketing budget, which is vital. You have to have a marketing budget. So that should be a percentage of the income that you make from your business or the amount that you've invested in your business. Brand building. Now, my wife is a graphic designer, and I often cringe when I see her talking to clients, usually women, that have the amazing branding with the LinkedIn photo like this and, the whole nine. Now, the thing is, branding is super important. Now, my way of doing branding is stuff like, the hoodies and just being consistent and being true to myself. But some people view branding as just your logo, some really nice photos, etc. It's all important, and it should be consistent and congruent, and it should tie into whatever industry you're in. But don't spend $3,000 on branding. Do not spend $3,000 on branding if you don't have the other things in place. That's the great thing about this business mastery plan. We're going to take you through everything. So it's silly to have a $3,000 branding package and you don't have a CRM, or you don't have a sales system, or you don't have the right mindset. So it's better to spend less on the branding and make sure that the other fundamentals are in place than spend all this money on branding that everything looks good, but no one's going to your website. You're not able to convert clients because you're not following up with them. So branding is very important. You do need a logo. You don't have to spend $2,000-$3,000 on it. You can go to Fiverr. Fiverr, as it says in the name, you can get it for $5. But a word of caution, you get what you pay for. And if you're not prepared to give a really good brief to the designer, they're probably just going to use AI anyway. They're going to produce something for you that may not be congruent with what you're looking to do. You can also go to like Upwork. There's different places. Now, one thing that I have in here is about the Chevy Nova. Now, this is a story that I love to share with people, especially people who speak Spanish, because there was a car company who had launched a car, the Chevy Nova, and it was doing really well in North America, but didn't do well in Spanish speaking countries. Because if you speak Spanish, or if you understand a little bit about Spanish, Nova means no go, right? So in Spanish speaking countries, there was a psychological thing in it where they were like, a car that says it doesn't go, I don't want to buy that. But you're not going to have someone on Fiverr understand these things. So whilst you can do it yourself, or you can get someone to do it on the cheap, it is probably worth investing something in it, but just not 2,000 or 3,000 unless you have the other things in place. And you want to make sure that you're persistent and consistent. What I find is at the beginning of the year, a lot of people say, oh, I am going to be this new person. I'm going to get up and running. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do whatever. And they do it for 2-3 weeks. They don't become millionaires and they give up. You have to be persistent. You have to be consistent. If you think about it, when you watch television, you probably are going to see a McDonald's commercial, a Coca-Cola commercial, or some brand that you're probably already familiar with. Now, if McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Apple still advertise, who are you to think that you can put your message out just once and everybody is going to resonate with that message? So you have to be out there, and this will be contained in your business plan because you'll have a marketing strategy in place. You'll find that 20% of your activities will produce 80% of your revenue. So 20% of your activities will produce 80% of your revenue. But if you don't know which 20%, then you might be putting your energy in the wrong places. So make sure that you're constantly looking at data. Do not run your business based on emotion. Look at the data, see what's working, and the things that are working, do more of it. And the things that aren't working, stop doing, or iterate until you get to a point where you realize it's something that you need to walk away from. Don't just keep doing the same thing that's not getting you the results. So I've talked about it quite a bit, but I want to break it down. The 4 pillars, making sure your business is scalable. So what that means is, for example, I'm wearing this hoodie, and let's just say this video were to go viral and 1 million people wanted to purchase my book. Would I be able to sustain and scale up the production of my book? Now, the book's on Amazon, so I don't have to worry about that because I've built my system using my system. So it's scalable. Is it sustainable? It's sustainable because if 1 million people were to order the book, Amazon would ship out 1 million books, and then they could do 1 million more. So it's sustainable. I wouldn't have to exert any additional effort. Now, in the book, there's QR codes to different products and services, which can all scale up. Is it repeatable? So I've written several books. Can I continually do this thing and get the same levels of success? And is it franchisable? Do I have a system that someone could look at, understand, and actually purchase the system from me? So when I say franchisable, I don't mean necessarily that you have to become a franchise. But what I mean by franchisable is having a system that someone can look at, someone can scrutinize, an accountant could actually say, this is the value of this particular system, and they could buy it and they'd be able to duplicate the success that you've had. So this should be the test of any business, of any process or procedure within your business and any product. Is it scalable, sustainable, repeatable, and franchisable? You want to understand who your ideal customer is. So this is the concept of having an avatar. To a lot of people, this seems like it is counterintuitive because I'll say to people, who's your ideal customer? And they'll say anyone that's giving me money. Is it a male or a female? Most people will say both. But your ideal customer is someone that values your service, will pay for your service, is not a pain, and will refer other quality people to you. So you want to create what's called a customer avatar. You'll start with one, but then you'll build out other avatars. So if you look at the bigger brands, they have a lane that they want to be in. So like Adidas, I'm a big Adidas fan. Adidas will promote and sponsor a lot of sports teams. Whereas you have a lifestyle brand like Vans, which is more about skateboarding. So they both sell sneakers to human beings, but they have an avatar, they have a client that they are really trying to resonate with. And this is important as you build out your branding, because if you know who you're speaking to, who you're trying to attract, then you'll be able to use the right colors, the right fonts, the right words to make sure that it resonates with who your ideal customer is. As you get up and running, what you want to do is build a top 10, top 50 list. So generate a list of the 50 influencers that already have your ideal clients. Then what you want to do is go into that pool, join their mailing list, and see what they do, how they do it, and have conversations in those groups. So if it's a Facebook group, if it's a YouTube channel, if it's LinkedIn, if it's TikTok, have conversations in that group and hear what people are saying, because the people in that group are your ideal client. And this person already has them in that group. So you can duplicate what they're doing. You can stalk that person, because at some point you want to be the person where people are checking out what you're doing. Understand that people buy for three key reasons. Think about the last thing that you purchased. It will be because of one of three key reasons: either health, wealth, or relationship. So health, wealth, or relationship. So when you're building your product or service, you want to speak to at least one of these things. But if you can do more than one, but you don't want to do all three, because then it will dilute your message. So health, wealth, or relationship. Now think back about different products and services and try to relate the things that you purchase and how they market those products and services back to one of these three things. And the other reason why people buy is to run towards pleasure or away from pain. So towards pleasure or away from pain. So if you can stack those three things that people are looking for and really, really, really lean into, are they moving towards pleasure or away from pain, you can build a fantastic product. Understand where and how people buy. So as you think about your ideal client, understand their education level, understand the books they read, understand the groups that they're in, that you can be there, because you want to be where they are so that they can see what you're selling, they can find out more about you. And are they searching based on their interest, or are they searching based on a specific product? So you'll build that into your marketing. As I said earlier, you do need a website. You absolutely need a website. Now, a lot of people will challenge me on this, but think about it this way. I'm old enough to remember that when you used to go to networking events and actually meet people in person, as opposed to just meeting people online, one of the first things that people would ask you for is a business card. Now, that's a little bit antiquated now, and it might not be a green way of doing things, but there was an expectation that you would have a business card. And quite often, I would give people my business card, and then they'd ask me, various things that were on the business card. So it just became a behavior where people expected me, or expect business people, to have a business card. It's a similar thing with a website. People expect you to have a website. So regardless of the fact of people may not actually visit it, which we will talk about that, people expect you to have one. When they look at your business card or they look at your website, they expect for you to have a website. So what you want to do with your website is make it a part of your sales process. And this is vital, because I know so many people who their website is essentially just a glorified online brochure. And it's not leveraging the technology well. So the best way that you can think about it is your website should be able to answer questions that people may have, that you can filter out people that aren't your client or you put them on a different pathway. It should be able to attract and retain information for you. It should be able to generate new business for you. These are the key things that a website should do for you. So you should view your website as if it's an employee. You wouldn't have an employee and not talk to them for 6 weeks. You wouldn't have an employee and not keep them trained and updated about your products and services. So why would you have a website that you haven't even logged into for a year? When I used to build websites as a standalone product, I'd have people that would contact me and say, oh, my website's down. My first question would be, how long has it been down? And usually the response was, I don't know. And this is because they didn't make their website an integral part of their business. Quick tip, why not make your website the homepage that when you log into the internet every day, you see your website? This way, if it goes down, you'll know immediately, or at least within 24 hours. And it will also give you the opportunity to tweak it. But make sure your website is something that is generating money for you and it's linked to a CRM. And we'll get into the CRM after. Also, if you're doing online marketing, what you want to do is create what's called a sales page. So if I'm, promoting my book, and it's part of Asta Business Services, when I do my ads, I want to direct people to a page that is only talking about my book. Okay. I don't want to send them to the virtual mailboxes and the life courses and the this and that, because if they've clicked on that ad, it's because they're interested in the book. Secure the sale for the book by not putting too much information on that page, because as they say, the confused mind says no. So if you send them somewhere, they were looking for the book, they go on there and they're confused, they'll just move away. Once you've secured that sale, you can do a cross sale, upsell, or a bump. But what you want to do is make sure that you have that sales page. So within that sales page, you're going to want to put them in what's called a funnel. Now, Russell Brunson is the godfather of sales funnels. He has several books. I'd highly recommend that you Google Russell Brunson. You can download his first book for free. It will put you in his sales funnel, but from there, you can just look at what he's doing and you can duplicate that. So the first thing that you want to do is have an item in your sales funnel. As I said, the book. You can then say, well, if you get this book, what you also get is, you can bump them up and say, well, you can get expedited shipping. You can give them a one-time offer, but you want to move them along. So the funnel starts with a wide top and it moves them down into the sale. The sales funnel is the glue that brings everything together. So as a requirement for anyone that I take through my business mastery course on a one-on-one basis, and I only work with 5 people at a time, anyone that I'm taking through is required to be working through one of Russell Brunson's books, because as I said, it goes through everything, it glues everything that I talk about together. And he's made hundreds of millions. And more importantly, he's helped other people make hundreds of millions. So instead of me trying to reinvent the wheel and have to build credibility, I'll just direct people to Russell Brunson, but then I'll hold their hand as they go through it. Now, as you take people through your sales funnels, you're going to have to face objections, and they're either going to be emotional, logical, or it will just be fear. So the emotional ones are that you can address from the onset. The logical ones, again, you can address from the onset. And fear is fear. But if you build your products right, things like having a money back guarantee, that will appeal to the logical people. The emotional people, what you want to do is really make them feel good. You want to put them in the place of having your product or service. And you want to make them understand why they're getting it, how they'll feel when they get it, and why they should get it from you. The sales funnel software is called ClickFunnels. Here's the QR code. Check out ClickFunnels. Check out Russell Brunson. it will change your business. And the other thing that you will realize once you start to unpack ClickFunnels is how many people use it. So these instant webinars and a lot of the things that you're probably exploring as someone that's looking to start a business or someone who is in business, a lot of the things that you're exploring, you'll see that they're probably using ClickFunnels in the background. So what you want to do, as I've done, I've started to build a tribe. I've started to build a group of people, some who know me personally, others who just look at my content online, who become followers. And so it may be just through a short video, it may be through me speaking at an event, then they become a fan. And I don't say that with any level of hubris, but it just means that they value the content that I put together. They value the fact that a lot of the information I share is for free. So they become what we would call a fan. Then at some point, the idea is they become a customer. Maybe they buy a book. Maybe they sign up for one of the courses. I can't say what they will do, but you want to take them through the journey from follower to fan to customer. And you want to be able to have a sales pitch. So your sales pitch can either be online or in person, and it's broken down for me into 3 different stages: the pickup, the follow-up, and the sale. So the pickup is really that message that resonates with people. So we won't go into that at this point. But the follow-up, this is where so many people fall over. Most people don't follow up. So a lot of people will put energy into crafting the perfect message. But then when someone contacts them and maybe calls them outside of business hours or sends them an email, they don't follow up with the person, or they don't follow up enough. And this is often due to a poor mindset. This is because people are like, oh, I don't want to be a pain. I don't want to keep calling this person. Keep calling. Keep following up. And as a practical example of this, I'm a licensed mortgage broker in the UK. So I have clients who will contact me who specifically want my services. So they've seen my content online, and they're contacting me because they want my services. They're contacting me because they maybe have a mortgage that's coming out of the fixed term, and it's going to cost them extra $100, $300, $5,000 or pounds, whatever. It's going to cost them extra money. So there's an urgency. They've contacted me, and quite often, even those customers will take a while to get me the documents that are needed in order for me to solve the problem that they've told me that they have. Now, why do I bring that out? Well, if someone's coming to me to save money and they've reached out to me, and sometimes I have to chase them up, how much more will this be the case when you're cold calling or when you've just put something out there that may be a luxury item? So as a rule of thumb, just keep calling. Just keep calling. Don't project your view of how many times someone should call on someone else. Just keep calling, because sometimes people just get busy. They want your product or service. They just get busy. So keep calling. Make sure you do the follow-up, and make sure you ask for the sale. Make sure you say, okay, would you like to pay for that now? So that's called a test close. That's all covered off in the Business Mastery course. And how do you find people? Now, one of the most underutilized ways of finding new customers is just networking. But you have to network with a purpose. So one of my other books is Business Networking for Startups and Side Hustlers. Business Networking for Startups and Side Hustlers. So it tells you how to be an effective networker, how not to be that person that just walks around giving out business cards and doesn't ask anyone any questions, doesn't listen. You're just a hunter. That's not the best way to network. All right. So you want to make sure that you have a very clear plan on how you're going to network. You have a plan on how many times a month or even a week, depending on what kind of business you're in, how many times you're going to attend networking events, what networking events you're going to attend, and what your purpose is when you attend those events. Now, there's a lot of free networking events that you can find on Eventbrite. There's some paid networking organizations that are really good. BNI is probably the most popular business networking international. I've been a member of BNI both in the US and UK over the years, and it's a phenomenal organization. Now, as someone that left banking for a while and was doing my own thing, I loved BNI because it gave me structure, it gave me KPIs, it gave me that level of community, right? Because within BNI, first of all, you have to pay to be there. So you have more serious people. You meet weekly. You have to have a certain amount of conversations with other people in the group. You make referrals, and there's someone within the chapter that's making sure that you do all of those things. So it gives you that accountability. Now, the downside to BNI, depending on what type of business you're in, is you do meet weekly and you do have KPIs and you do have to be accountable. So if you're maybe a plumber or an electrician, a tradesman, and when you have a job, you have to be at that job, BNI might not be a good fit simply because the meetings are like, let's just say every Wednesday, a lot of them take place before business hours. So it might be every Wednesday at 6 a.m. But if you have a job that you need to be at 7 a.m. or even at 6 a.m., you're not going to be able to make the BNI meeting. And they do watch your attendance. So just make sure that it's a good fit for you. But you can visit a BNI chapter for free. You've probably been invited to one. One of my biggest beefs with BNI is that quite often the members act like it's a secret cult. So they don't just say, look, I'm a member of BNI, Business Networking International. I'd like to invite you. You'll get some time to talk about your business, but you also have to hear about everybody else's business. Quite often they do it in a way that's a little bit clandestine, and I'm not a fan of that, especially because BNI is such a great platform. If you're in the UK, there's other organizations like FSB and Your Business Community. In the US, there's a lot of chambers and other similar networking organizations. My advice, visit as many as you can for free, find out which ones work for you, and be prepared to network effectively. And think about the reciprocation. Don't just go there looking for business. Make sure that you're going there and you're like, if you're like me with my superpower, I have a mental Rolodex. So if I meet someone and they need a product or service from someone I know, I'll say, you know what, I'll connect you with Joe. Joe does that thing. Then I'll call Joe and say, Joe, I met someone. And then it helps you build a level of credibility and it helps you build rapport. And naturally, there'll be some reciprocation. Just think about it. If someone kept calling you and sending business to you, you kind of feel like, oh, I need to do something for them. So you shouldn't necessarily do it for the purpose of getting referrals. But what you will find is you will start getting people sending business your way. Now, we're going to talk about the process. How do you engage people quickly, elevator pitch style? So the first thing you want to do is have a hook. So the hook is the thing that will focus people's attention. If you're on the internet, if you're on social media, you know there's a lot of things vying for your attention. But by having a strong hook, you will find that it will make people focus on you. So the hook might be start your business in 7 days. Or like I say, I help startups and side hustlers make their first 100,000. That resonates with people. Then you want to have a story. So how do I do that? I help people make their first 100,000 by building a business that's scalable, sustainable, repeatable, and franchisable. And then I go into an example of how I've done that for someone very briefly. Then I give them an offer. I say, well, I've done that for Joe. I can do this for you. Within the next 7 days, I'm signing up 5 clients. I only work with 5 clients at a time. And we can get you up and running immediately. Now, that's just off the top of my head. But what you'll do is you'll put together a very clear pathway with your hook, your story, and your offer. And once you've done it once, it will make it easier for you to do that again in the future. Now we're moving into the bit that I like. This is the nerdy bit. And the bit that people avoid, and I don't know why. So the CRM, so a customer relationship management system, CRM. Now, some people, they just use like Excel or they use Word. That's a great start and it's better than nothing. But I would strongly recommend having a purpose-built or a bespoke CRM if you can. Otherwise, you can just use something off the shelf. So what's a CRM going to do for you? A CRM is going to help you segment data, retain information, and engage with clients on a much better level. So segmenting data, you want to be able to know, well, how many customers in the last 6 months have bought this particular product or paid for this particular service. So that way, when you're reaching out or you're doing marketing, you could just reach out to them. Or if you're launching a similar product, you can just reach out to those people. You want to be able to retain information. So when someone fills out a form on your website and you've forgotten to follow up, you want a system that can actually retain that information and maybe put them in what's called a drip feed campaign, where until you engage with them, at least they're getting some communication from you. And this is all about being process driven. This is about being scalable, sustainable, repeatable, and franchisable. This is about making sure that your humanness does not get in the way of your success. And what I mean by that is life happens. You'll forget to do things. You'll have a meeting scheduled and that will be the thing on your mind and you'll forget another meeting. But if you have a system in place through a CRM, it will be that safety net for you. And it will also make sure that you can be consistent in the level and quality of service that you provide, even when you scale up. So people want consistency. If you look at McDonald's does not make the best hamburgers on the planet, but they're consistently average. You know, anywhere in the world that you go, for the most part, you know what you're getting. What people don't want is one day to go in and have a Chick-fil-A experience, the next day to have a KFC experience, the next day to have the Jamaican restaurant experience where they just act like they don't even, like you're interrupting them from their day when you go in to do business with them. People want a consistent service. So it can be consistently good, consistently bad, consistently average, but people want to know what they're getting. So I have a system that I've built, a CRM system that I customize for clients, which is called WC Portal. If you're interested in that, we can get you up and running with that. It's built around you, it's built around your business, and it's customized for the way that you run your business. The automation within the WC Portal is going to ensure that the things that you need done are done automatically with as little human intervention as possible, but as much as is needed. So you don't want to be doing everything manually, but you also don't want to automate everything. You want to be able to provide a custom and customer focused experience where people love it, and it will help you follow up better. Now, I talk about a lot of products and I talk about a lot of apps that I use, and these apps enable me to be more efficient and effective. Most of these products I've got off AppSumo. So AppSumo is a platform for small business owners. It's actually for anybody. But the great thing about AppSumo is you will find new products that people are just launching, and they launch it on AppSumo first. And by launching it on AppSumo, they're able to build a client base. But for you, it means you can get that app at a lifetime subscription, one-time payment. So what does that mean? So apps like even the one that I'm using for this webinar, I got it on AppSumo maybe 7 years ago. I paid like $49 for it once. And in those years that I've had it, it's just gotten better and better and better and better. The other thing about AppSumo is they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you purchase a product on AppSumo and it's not what you thought it would be, or you're not happy with it, they will give you a refund. Make sure you scan the QR code. AppSumo is the platform if you want to save money, because the thing is, you know, a lot of these products that you'll find online that are amazing products, you'll pay $9.99 a month for this and $16.99 a month for that and $5.99 a month for this, and before you know it, it's $200-$300 that you're spending a month for apps that you do need. Whereas with AppSumo, by paying that one-time fee, you're over and done with. It helps you manage your finances better. I can't speak enough about AppSumo. Not every product on there is amazing, but it does have a money back guarantee. But I've spent probably thousands over the years on AppSumo that would have been costing me potentially thousands a month if I had paid for a subscription. ChatGPT. Now, this is why a lot of people have tuned in. ChatGPT is the tool that can level the playing field. It can make your life better, not even just your business life, but your personal life. So I've written a book, ChatGPT for Startups and Side Hustlers. It goes through in a very non-technical, non-nerdy way how to get up and running in and with ChatGPT. It goes through something that's called prompt engineering. The thing with ChatGPT, the better questions you ask, the better outcomes you get. So I give you a structure for formatting the questions that you're asking ChatGPT. I also give you some prompts that will be off the shelf for you to get your business up and running, to do your marketing, to do your social media. I have a full-time job as a mortgage broker in the UK, and I'm able to run my side hustle better than most people run their only business. When you see the amount of content that I put out online, when you see the level of engagement that I'm able to have, you think I do it full time. But I'm able to do that because I leverage AI. Now, I'm a person, I love to write, and as you can see, I can talk. So I use ChatGPT as a tool, not a crutch. So what I would say, avoid just saying, ChatGPT, write me a proposal for. The way that I use it is I would write it and ask it to enhance it or to proofread it or to add some statistics. ChatGPT is not the only AI platform, but it's the one that I'm most familiar with. And I would encourage anybody who's considering starting or is running a business, if you're not using ChatGPT, basically you want to fail. Now, people are reluctant to use ChatGPT sometimes because they feel, oh, I don't want to use AI, and AI is going to take over the world, and there's going to be these computers roaming around. And I found an interesting quote online where they say, AI will not take your job, but the person that's using AI will. So if you're a small business owner and you're running around doing everything without the use of AI, the person that is using AI is going to be more effective than you, more efficient, potentially be able to offer their products and services at a lower price, which means it's going to put you out of business potentially. So make sure you check out ChatGPT for Startups and Side Hustlers. It's on Amazon. Make sure you use ChatGPT. And one of the things that I've done is I've actually created what's called a GPT. So it's kind of like an app within ChatGPT where it gives you prompts for being a startup. These are all contained in the book. Now, I've talked a lot about social media. Social media is one of those things that's misunderstood. Everyone feels like people under 25 fully understand social media. Everyone wants to be on there, but some people are reluctant to be there. First and foremost, you need to be there. Not instead of what you're doing, but in addition to what you're doing. So no matter what you're doing, you should have an online presence. And if you're leveraging AppSumo to buy different apps, you can manage all of your social media platforms from one place. You can schedule posts. You can do so many things. So I use a platform called Publer. Publer enables me to create one post, and they have an AI assist on the level that I'm on. It enables you to generate posts and post them on multiple platforms. It enables you to be able to schedule your posts. So you could sit down at the beginning of the month and say, I'm going to spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour just scheduling all my posts for the month so you can be more efficient. But you need to be on social media, but you need to understand which ones are best. Which social media platform is best for you and your business type. I am on LinkedIn. I'm full in on LinkedIn. That's where I do most of my posts. Although by using Publer, I'm able to post on TikTok, and I do my YouTube, and I do my Facebook, but LinkedIn is my key platform. Understand for you which one is best for your demographic and the age groups that you're going after. Here's the QR code for Publer. As I said, it's going to help you systematize your social media. It's going to help you schedule your posts. Publer will save you time, and it will give you that leverage that you need to be on social media more and show up a lot better. Don't let time be an excuse. Give Publer a try. Even their free version is really powerful, and it's something that you want to check out. If you're looking to do more marketing on YouTube, if you're looking to get monetized, one of the things that I use is Sprizzy. Sprizzy will help you market your video. So if you're doing an event and you just need to get it in front of more people, you can check out Sprizzy. Sprizzy is straightforward. It will talk you through the process of doing your ads on YouTube. And to be absolutely honest, YouTube is the way forward. A lot of people don't realize that YouTube is the #2 search engine on the planet. So you have Google and then you have YouTube. And if you're like me and like a lot of people, you're a visual person. So when I want to figure out how to do something, I'll search it and I'll go on YouTube, or I'll just go on YouTube and search that particular thing. Like yesterday, I was trying to figure out how to do something in iMovie, and I just went on there. How do I make short segments in iMovie? And there'll be more videos than you know what to do with. But I would strongly recommend, if you're a business owner, definitely start a YouTube channel, get it monetized. I have a lot of videos on how to get your YouTube channel monetized. But right now, as of the recording of this video, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 view hours. Now, a word to the wise, even if you're not ready to do it now, start your channel now, because what you'll find is for newer channels, there's limitations on what you can do, because they want to make sure that it's not just a bot. But definitely start a YouTube channel. And there's a new trend in YouTube, which I love. It's about just creating a log of what you're doing, as opposed to creating this amazing content. So don't just think, oh, well, I don't have this polished content and therefore I'm not going to start. Do like what I'm doing. Just take a punt. Share the information that you have. It will resonate with people who value it, and you can build a tribe from there. But you want to get monetized, because once you're monetized, then you can make money off what you're doing. And getting 4,000 viewer hours is not impossible, especially when you do things like this, like webinars. And if you have an evergreen product, this is another thing that I talk about in my YouTube monetization videos. An evergreen product is something like this: things that don't change. The body does not change. So my friend is an optometrist, and he makes videos about the eye. The eye is the eye. So when he talks about some of the issues that people have with their eyes, these are things that 5 years from now will still be a thing. So if you build evergreen products, or if you build evergreen videos, then it's something that maybe you might not get 100,000 views in the first day, but over the course of time, you'll find that if it's evergreen, people will resonate with it. And as you populate your YouTube channel, people will go in and they'll watch the videos. I had a video that I put on one of my channels maybe about 8 years ago. Now, it wasn't original content. It was just something that I took from another channel and I edited it, which is okay. And when I decided to relaunch my YouTube channels and get serious about it and get monetized, I looked, and that video had, wait for it, 886,000 views. 886,000 views, almost a million views. And that was by accident, but most things aren't going to happen by accident. So you want to make sure that you're using technology to understand what people are searching for. I use something called vidIQ. The information is in the description. It's not going to happen by accident. These people that are huge on the internet, a lot of them built their following before a lot of these algorithms. So they're already there. But if you're looking to get up and running, get to the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, it's all about thumbnails and descriptions. And unless you're using ChatGPT, you should definitely be using vidIQ. So check out the link in the description and make sure that once you're up and running, if you need a boost for your videos, you can use Sprizzy. Now, what we want to do now is put together an action plan. We've gone through a lot of information, not everything that's contained in the book, but what are you going to do with this information? What are you going to do with what we've covered over around mindsets, around branding, around websites, around starting your business? You want to write what's called a SMART objective. So that that is you want to write a SMART objective that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So you want to be specific about what the plan is. So I will have 1,000 views on my YouTube channel by this date. So that's specific. It's measurable because I say by March 13th. It's achievable because depending on when I'm starting, it might be 3 months, but you're going to make it achievable. It's realistic because having 1,000 views, if you put the right plan together, is not impossible. And it's not necessarily hard if you're putting together good content, and it's time bound, as I said. So make sure all of your plans that you tie into your business mastery workshop, make sure that they're specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Once you get the information that we'll send over to you, what we'll do is we'll pin you down, not physically, but we'll make sure that you are bought into what you're saying you are going to do. And the other thing that you want to do is find an accountability buddy. So someone who's going to hold you accountable. One of the worst things that you can do is have people in your life that don't hold you accountable. People that think everything you do is amazing, or people that think everything you do is horrible. You want people who are going to hold you accountable, call you to be a better you than you would be without them. People that will encourage you, people that will support you, that will make you ask the questions of yourself that maybe you wouldn't ask otherwise. An accountability buddy doesn't have to be a best friend. It just needs to be someone who will hold you accountable, someone that has expertise in that area. So don't go to your plumber to do your electrical work. Don't go to your electrician to do your medical work. Don't go to your doctor to do your taxes. Everybody's going to have a different skill set. So within starting a business, make sure that you're talking to people who know what they're talking about. Make sure that you have people around you that are thinking big, because sometimes people think too small and they will hold you back. So if you want to sign up for the course, if you want to know more about business mastery for startups and side hustlers, make sure that you check the links below. Make sure that you look at the links around AppSumo and Publer and Sprizzy and the other tools that I use. If you're looking to build a YouTube channel and get monetized, check out the other videos, but you will need vidIQ. vidIQ, amazing, 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 amazing. And I usually ask this question at the beginning of my sessions. Before Mount Everest was discovered, what was the tallest mountain in the world? So before Mount Everest was discovered, what was the tallest mountain in the world? And the answer is Mount Everest. Now, why do I ask that? It's because quite often people won't listen to people if they don't have 1 million views. So if you're looking at this video on day one and it has 5 views, you're like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But then if I have 1 million views, I could be saying the exact same thing. And you're like, this guy knows what he's talking about. So what I would say, take the information based on the information, not always the messenger. I say this because just because Mr. Beast says so and he has billions of followers and billions of views, whilst it is likely that what he's talking about around YouTube is probably correct, it doesn't mean that it has to be correct. And keep in mind that YouTube is constantly changing their algorithms. So quite often by the time everybody's talking about the thing no longer works. but they already have their videos and their views, and they've already monetized that thing to a point that you'll listen to it. So make sure you do your research. Make sure you don't run your business based on emotion. Make sure that you have a plan that is documented. Make sure that you surround yourself with the right people, and don't give up. Keep going. Be persistent. Be consistent. Don't start in January and end in March. You've got to stick in there. Most people give up on their podcast after 3 episodes. Just 3 episodes. Most people never get monetized on YouTube, and it's because they just give up. Have a plan, because once you do it, the money will come in and the success and what you're looking for will happen. But more importantly, understand that it will take time. Okay? It's not going to happen overnight. It will take time. I have an 18-month plan. And think about it. It takes more than 18 months to get a degree. Takes way more than that to become a doctor. But if you can make YouTube work and generate money for you, it can be something that you enjoy, and you can add value not only to yourself through the money that is generated, but to the world through the content and information that you share. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. And make sure you go out there and do what you need to do. Stay persistent and consistent, and make sure that you check out all of the links in.
And excuses and obstacles will prevent you from starting. So, what do you do? Where do you start? How do you start? First and foremost, just get a business plan. Get an idea together. Put it on paper. You don't even need to talk to other people, because quite often other people, especially those people that have never done it before, or people who have done it and failed, they'll discourage you, or they'll make it look like getting up and running or getting started is insurmountable. So sometimes you just need to have an idea, put it on paper, and get up and running. Now, this might seem like something that is counterintuitive, but sometimes you need to just get started. You need to get up and running, because people are attracted to action. As a business consultant and as someone that's worked in finance and business for over 30 years, ideas are a dime a dozen. Everybody has an idea. Everyone has a business that they're going to start. Very few people get up and running. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and we were talking about NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and she was saying that she always asks people when she's discussing her idea to sign an NDA. And as someone who used to build websites as a standalone product, quite often people would come to me with their website and their business idea and say, "Oh, I need for you to sign an NDA," which happy to do it. One thing that I would say is most people don't even move forward with their own business idea. And so the likelihood of someone taking your business idea and making it into something is slim to none. Not to get them to sign an NDA, and not to say that your idea is not probably super amazing, but the money is not in the idea. The money is in the execution, marketing, and delivery of the idea. So if you don't do anything, it doesn't matter how good your idea is. If you don't get it up and running, if you don't get started, it doesn't matter how good your idea is. Conversely, you can have a bad idea that's marketed well and promoted well, and something can become of it. I always talk about the pet rock. There actually used to be something called a pet rock, where people would buy a pet rock. I think it was in the 50s or 60s in the US, but that just goes to show anything can work if marketed, and nothing will work if you never put the idea out there. So within that, what I would say, once you get your business up and running, once you get started, make sure that you are looking at the data. Make sure that you've put some metrics in place to be able to determine if that thing is working, what's working about it, how it's working, why it's working, and also understand what is not working. That way you can stop doing those things, or you can change it. Now, in your business and as you're up and running, one of the things that I always recommend is to under-promise and over-deliver. under promise and over deliver. As a startup or as a side hustler, it's very easy to get into this thing where you just promise the world, where you're convinced that you can do this thing better than anyone else on the planet. And what that does is it sets an expectation that quite often cannot be met, or it cannot be met consistently. And what you want to do is make sure that whatever product or service you're delivering, you're able to meet that customer expectation every single time. Ideally, you want to exceed it, but you at very least want to meet it. So if the first time someone engages with you, you pick up the phone on the first call and you turn around the service in 24 hours, you've set them with that expectation. Now, if you know that you can do that 99.9% of the time, that's fine. But it is also an idea to say, well, if you know you can do something in 24 hours, say, well, that's a 48-hour turnaround, and then deliver it in 24 hours. Because at least that way you have that breathing space to be able to, if the next time around you can't do it in 24 hours, you build that breathing space that you can have that additional day and still be able to deliver quality. So you need to look at what you're able to do right now and get moving with whatever you have right now. Don't wait for other people. My wife Layla has a graphic design business, and people approach her with these ideas for their logos, and she's very quick in what she does. She does a great job, but her turnaround is quite good. Now, I know people who have gone to graphic designers, not Layla, but gone to other graphic designers, and I'm doing a project for them, or I'm helping them start their business, and they're like, oh, I'm waiting for the graphic designer, or I'm waiting for the web designer, or I'm waiting. I find that that's usually an excuse. There's always someone that can turn that thing around quicker. So if someone is waiting for team members, or the graphic designer, or the web designer, or the copywriter, usually that's just a form of procrastination. So as you're getting your business up and running, don't wait on people. Don't wait on people to get behind you and support your idea. And don't do that thing. I've seen people do this, and this is another one of those things that people do quite regularly. They come up with some ideas, and they have this committee of people, quite often people who aren't in business themselves or don't have expertise in the area, and they put this idea out to the people for the people to give them feedback, for them to decide if they want to move forward or not. Don't do that. That's not to say that you cannot have a mastermind group or get ideas or feedback from people. But you don't want whether or not you're going to start your business, you don't want that to be determined by other people who aren't professionals in the area and probably aren't your customer anyway. You don't want them to determine if and when you get up and running. The other thing, and the other point that I'll make, is quite often if you look at people that have been hugely successful in business, excuse me, the thing or product that they have is an iteration on previous products or services. Excuse me. So it's not that they started where they are. They started, they got feedback from the market, real feedback from people that are customers, and then they iterated from there. They didn't wait to get started in order to put a product out. So my advice is start where you are. Don't procrastinate. Don't make excuses. Don't wait on people, because starting a business can be one of the best things that you can do in life. It's challenging, and you need the right support team and the right people around you and the right systems. However, you need to start somewhere, and it will be easier to get people to come on board once you're up and running and they see a real thing rather than something that's just in your mind. Entrepreneurism, and it's become romanticized, because before, entrepreneur was just somebody with a job, without a job, with an idea. And now we've made it into this thing that, it's this really exciting thing. And I just think most people shouldn't be entrepreneurs. I think more people should be looking to be great employees. But if you do feel that you're going to be a business owner, you should do it the right way and you should be doing it for the right reasons. And if you get to the stage where you have a limited company or corporation, whatever your business format, it should be something that you're leveraging. So you should understand why you're starting that limited company. You should have the right things in place to ensure that you actually have a